What if I told you that a broken toy, a child's tears, and one stranger's act of kindness could inspire a man's entire life's work? This is the story of how a simple wooden horse changed the destiny of a little boy forever. And by the end, you'll understand why sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest miracles. In a small town where everyone knew everyone, there lived a 6-year-old boy named Adam. His world was simple, filled with wonder, and centered around one precious possession. This wasn't just any toy. It was hand-carved, painted with love, and given to him by his father just weeks before a terrible accident took him away. For Adam, this wooden horse wasn't just a plaything. It was his connection to the man he missed every single day. Adam would whisper to his toy horse, "Come on, Thunder. Let's go on another adventure." His mother, Sarah, watched from the kitchen window as Adam played alone in their small yard. She saw how carefully he handled that horse, how he'd whisper stories to it, how he'd never let it out of his sight. It was all she had left to give him of her husband's memory. On this particular afternoon, Adam was feeling especially adventurous. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and Thunder the horse was ready for their biggest adventure yet. Adam ran in circles, making galloping sounds, holding the horse high, calling out, "Faster, Thunder! We need to save the kingdom." But sometimes, in the midst of our greatest joys, life has other plans. Adam tripped over a tree root and fell hard. The wooden horse flew from his hands and crashed against a stone. The music stopped abruptly as the sound of splintering wood filled the air. "Thunder! No, no, no!" Adam cried in panic as he scrambled to the broken pieces. The horse's head was detached, paint chipped, one leg cracked. "Mom! Mom!" he called out, his voice breaking. Sarah ran outside, saw the broken toy and her son's tears, and knelt beside him, saying, "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry." Through his sobs, Adam pleaded, "Can you fix him, Mom? Please? He's all I have left of Daddy." But Sarah's voice trembled as she tried to be strong. I don't know, baby. I don't know how." That night, Adam went to bed clutching the broken pieces of Thunder, tears streaming down his face. His mother sat outside his door, her own heart breaking as she listened to his quiet sobs. She had tried everything she could think of: glue, tape, even asking neighbors for help. But Thunder seemed beyond repair. As Adam whispered to the broken toy, "I'm sorry, Thunder. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you." His voice carried all the pain of a 6-year-old who had lost too much already. Word travels fast in small towns. By morning, everyone had heard about little Adam's broken toy. Most people shook their heads sadly and moved on with their day. But one man couldn't let it go. John, an elderly carpenter with kind eyes and weathered hands, overheard customers talking at the hardware store. One customer said, "Poor little guy. That toy meant everything to him." The store owner replied, "Sarah's doing her best, but she can barely afford groceries, let alone a new toy." John quietly purchased wood glue, paint, and small tools, saying nothing to anyone about his intentions. John had been the town's carpenter for 40 years. His hands had built homes, crafted furniture, and repaired countless treasures. But tonight, he had the most important job of his entire career. In his workshop late at night, with only an oil lamp casting warm light, John carefully examined each broken piece of the horse. "Now then, little fellow, let's see what we can do," John said to himself as he began his work. For the next 4 hours, John worked with the patience of a saint and the precision of a master craftsman. He didn't just repair Thunder, he lovingly restored every detail. He sanded away the scratches, replaced the broken leg with a perfectly matched piece of wood, and carefully repainted every marking. As the clock struck midnight, John held up his work. Thunder looked better than new, but more than that, he looked loved. "There you are, boy, ready to gallop again." John smiled as he wrote a small note on aged paper. Adam woke that morning with heavy eyes and a heavier heart. He had barely slept, unable to stop thinking about his broken thunder. As he walked to the kitchen for breakfast, something on the front porch caught his eye. When he opened the door, he gasped. Thunder! It couldn't be. This horse looked perfect, better than perfect. Every detail was crisp, every color vibrant. Attached to Thunder's neck was a small piece of paper. Adam read aloud, "For a boy who deserves to dream again." He picked up the horse with trembling hands and shouted, "Mom! Mom! Come quick!" Sarah ran outside, saw the restored horse, and gasped, "How is this possible?" Adam didn't care how it was possible. He only knew that Thunder was back, and somehow he felt his father's love surrounding him once again. Adam ran through the yard toward John's workshop, calling out, "Mr. John! Mr. John!" John appeared at his workshop door, trying to look surprised. "Well, hello there, Adam. What's got you so excited this morning?" he asked. Adam held up the horse excitedly. "Someone fixed Thunder. Look how beautiful he is." John smiled warmly and replied, "Well, I'll be. That is a fine-looking horse. Someone must care about you very much." When Adam asked, "Do you know who did it?" John winked and said, "Sometimes the best gifts come from the heart, not from knowing who gave them. What matters is that Thunder is home where he belongs." Years passed, and Adam never forgot that morning. The memory of someone caring enough to fix his broken toy became the foundation of who he would become. At 16, Adam took his first job at John's workshop. He swept floors, organized tools, and watched the master craftsman work. John never admitted to fixing Thunder, but he always smiled when he saw Adam handling wood with the same gentle care. One day, as 18-year-old Adam worked intently on a wooden project, John observed, "You have good hands, boy. Patient hands." Adam replied thoughtfully, "I learned from watching you, Mr. John. You taught me that when you fix something broken, you're not just repairing an object, you're healing a heart." John paused, looking at Adam with pride, recognizing the wisdom growing in this young man. By 25, Adam had opened his own toy workshop on Main Street. But unlike other shops, Adam's had a very special policy. Every month, Adam would select several toys from his finest work and give them away, absolutely free, to children who needed them most. When Adam handed a beautiful wooden doll to a young girl whose eyes lit up with joy, she asked in disbelief, "Really? For me?" Adam smiled and replied, "Really. Every child deserves a toy to dream with." Word spread about the generous toy maker. Parents would bring their children from neighboring towns. Social workers would refer families going through tough times. And Adam never turned anyone away. One autumn afternoon, as Adam was showing a wooden train set to a young boy, he heard a familiar voice behind him. "My, this is quite an operation you have here." Adam turned to see John, now much older, walking with a carved wooden cane. "Mr. John, what brings you to my little shop?" Adam asked, lighting up with joy. John looked around at all the children and replied, "I heard rumors about a toy maker who gives away his finest work. Had to see it for myself." Adam watched as a mother thanked him for a toy soldier, tears in her eyes. She told him, "You have no idea what this means to my son. His father is deployed overseas, and this soldier will help him feel connected." Adam responded gently, "That's what toys are for, keeping love alive when we need it most." After the mother left, John and Adam stood together watching children play. "You know, Adam," John said, "I've seen a lot of things in my 80 years, but watching you today, I think I'm seeing something special." When Adam asked what that was, John replied, "The ripple effect of kindness. One act of love spreading out like rings on a pond, touching lives you'll never even know about." Adam reflected thoughtfully. "Someone once fixed my broken toy when I was 6 years old. I never found out who did it, but that act of kindness, it changed everything for me. It taught me that there are people in this world who care about strangers, who go out of their way to heal what's broken. I wanted to be that kind of person too. John's eyes twinkled with a knowing look as he simply said, "Did it now?" Adam disappeared into his workshop and returned with a beautifully carved wooden ship. "Mr. John, I want to give you something," he said, presenting the ship. It was exquisite, with tiny detailed sails and rigging. "This is for you, because whether you know it or not, you taught me that the smallest gift can make the biggest difference." John took the ship with trembling hands, his eyes growing misty. After a long pause, struggling with emotion, John said, "Adam, I have something to tell you. That night when you were 6, when thunder was broken," realization dawned on Adam's face as he whispered, "It was you." John nodded, his voice heavy with emotion. "I couldn't sleep knowing that little boy was heartbroken. So I gathered up those pieces and worked all night to make him whole again." Adam's eyes filled with tears as he said, You, you changed my entire life." But John shook his head. "No, son, you changed your own life. I just fixed a toy. You, you fixed hundreds of broken hearts." They embraced, both men crying, and in that moment, the circle was complete. The man who had quietly mended a child's broken toy was witnessing the beautiful life that had grown from that single act of kindness. Adam then said, "I have something else for you," and walked to his shelf to retrieve Thunder, now carefully preserved. "I think it's time Thunder had a place of honor in your workshop. He started this whole journey." John's voice broke as he replied, "I'd be honored." A year later, Adam's small toy shop had become something extraordinary. News stations featured his story. Other toy makers began similar programs, and John, despite his age, came in every week to help with repairs and mentor young craftsmen. In his workshop classes, Adam would teach children, saying, "Remember, when you make something with your hands and your heart, you're not just creating a toy. You're creating joy, memories, and maybe even changing someone's life." When a little girl held up her carved wooden bird and worried, "Mr. Adam, what if I mess up and break it?" Adam smiled and replied, "Then we'll fix it together, because broken things aren't worthless. Sometimes they just need a little love to make them whole again." That evening, Adam installed a new sign above his shop door. It read, "For every child, a toy to dream with." But below it, in smaller letters, were the words that mattered most. "In memory of all the broken things made beautiful by love." John passed away peacefully that winter, surrounded by the toy soldiers, wooden horses, and carved ships he'd created over a lifetime. At his funeral, Adam spoke about the night a stranger fixed a broken toy and unknowingly fixed a broken heart. Standing at John's grave, Adam placed Thunder on the headstone and said, "Thank you for teaching me that kindness isn't about getting credit. It's about making sure no one feels alone in their broken moments." Today, Adam's workshop provides free toys to over 300 children each year. His story has inspired toy drives in 12 states and 3 countries. Dozens of craftsmen have visited to learn not just how to make toys, but how to make a difference. Just last week, a young boy tripped and broke his toy truck near Adam's shop. Adam appeared, knelt down, and helped him gather the pieces, saying, "Don't worry, buddy. Broken things aren't the end of the story. They're just the beginning of something even better." You see, we all have broken things in our lives. Broken dreams, broken hearts, broken hopes. But somewhere out there is someone like John, someone like Adam, someone ready to take those pieces and make them beautiful again. You may never know how far a simple act of kindness will travel. You may never see the lives it touches or the dreams it restores, but somewhere, someone is building a better world because you chose to care about their broken moments. The question isn't whether you have the power to change someone's life. The question is, what broken thing will you choose to make beautiful today? If this story touched your heart, consider sharing it with someone who needs to know that broken doesn't mean worthless. Subscribe now and join us in spreading more hope, more love, and more stories that truly matter.